Good morning, everybody. This is Mark. We're back here for the morning call. It's Monday, the week after Thanksgiving. Wanted to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving. Hopefully everybody had a great weekend, enjoyed their families, enjoyed the food. I'm assuming enjoyed some online shopping. If you're brave enough to go out into the stores, all the power to you. So back to this tape. Obviously, we had an abbreviated session on Friday. Not a whole lot happened. I checked in here and there. Seemed pretty tight. We obviously closed green for the day in all the indices. Last week, I have the spiders up right now, and you can just see how tight, really over the last 5 days this indice has been. But again, it had a very nice move the week before, so a little bit of digestion is actually healthy, and that's really did the healthiest thing it could do, which is quite frankly have very tight ranges. The IWM was the leader last week. You could just see it had every day basically was trying to play a little catch up. It's been lagging the Qs and the spiders considerably all year. I'm not saying it's going to play catch up, but you definitely had the Russell 2000 and some small caps playing catch up. Hence why some of the big boys we were playing, the Amazons, the Googles, they didn't do a whole lot. Facebook, they didn't do a whole lot. You had GMRC had some moves. You had some biotechs that had some moves. But overall, everything else is intact. Let's go to the charts and see what we had. So last week, stock that, quite frankly, I haven't really been talking about that much because until a week and a half ago, until it reversed, was NFLX. And now it's right back at highs, amazingly. Snap your fingers. Everybody thinks it's a short. And it looked ugly to me at, 104. Next thing you know, it's 125. And, touching the ceiling of 129 is the new highs, 129.29. So another few days of basing looks healthy to me. Could go higher, really could go higher on new highs. I think that's the trend. I mean, we're heading into the last stretch, 4 weeks of the year. Ideally, you're going to see the stocks that have outperformed continue to outperform. I don't see that there being a reason for attack selling, or anything to that effect. So, the FANG stocks, as we've been talking about all, for months at this point in time, they're probably going to be the ones that have continuation, even if it's not every day. I would look for them to stay up, and any pullback should be viable. So NFLX right now hovering. Amazon still is the beast, and with online shopping, I'm assuming it's probably above last year's levels. I don't know that they got the metrics yet, but it hit highs I think on Friday, and then sold back. Up a little bit today. We'll have to wait and see. At some point, this stock feels like it's going to get to the 700 range before the end of the year. We'll have to see how it happens. Google, it's hanging. A few days of basing, as I said, lots of consolidation over the last 3 days. So maybe above 774 looks interesting for a trigger buy back to new highs, and then eventually I think this one, if the market stays up, we'll get back to 800 also. In that category. Facebook really has done nothing, not as pretty, but holding its key moving average, holding the 21-day just fine. People get bored with it, and for good reason. It just doesn't. When it doesn't trade, it doesn't trade. It really just stays within a 50-cent range. But again, this is the place I think you can accumulate if you like the stock, if you like the levels, and as long as it stays above 104, I think it's fine in general. You'll probably get some more, momentum above 107. So keep that in mind, 107, 108 as a level to really trigger some new longs. But overall, if you can get at 105, ideally you're getting it at a small discount. LinkedIn, another of the FANG stocks, again, isn't really packed in that category. You could probably add the S to it. But it should hold. That 237 was the gap. It's a 244-ish. Really doesn't seem to be doing anything, but at some point I think it will. Level to buy is around 240 in my opinion, 242, 238. That's the level. You get involved with LinkedIn, and at some point it's going to be in play. We just have to wait and see what happens with that. Some of the other high beta that really hasn't been acting great, Priceline, but it's trying to regain and hold its 200-day. Got hurt with obviously what happened in Paris a week and a half ago, but with travel is going to be a little hurt. Still doesn't look technically great, but it is Priceline. We know how that works, and it could really, catch a bid at some point. It's always on the radar. Don't have any specific levels. Expedia, same type of, certainly stock, same type of category. It's holding its moving average for the time being. It could get back to 130 pretty quickly if it really wants to. As long as it holds 118, 119, I think it's fine, but probably needs more time across the board. Oil. not a whole lot of anything. Closing at 41, really didn't do a whole lot last week. I think that's going to be the MO till the end of the year. I don't see why a lot of rhetoric or a lot of people position into the new year to either get long or even re-short, at this point. So basing, not a whole lot to talk about on that front. I know some of the, overseas markets, China had a bad day on Friday, or was it a Thursday? On Friday morning, recovered a little bit today. I know it opened down and then I think recovered pretty nicely. So, you had BIDU initially gapped down, I think, a little bit on Friday morning, but basically was one of the first to buy on the Chinese stocks and held in there very nicely. It's forming a nice little flag, ascending channel that should head higher based on what I'm seeing, but again, it could be locked in this level, tight level also. QIHU is another one that really has been on the radar, and it looks pretty tight and looks good. I know WUBA came out with earnings today, so we'll have to see how that reacts. Technically, it's actually cleared a little bit of a base 2 days ago above the 54, 55 level. So might be in playing, and really doesn't have a whole lot of resistance to the 65, 68 level. So on the radar certainly. And then BABA on the radar, held the key moving average the other day at 79, and I think it was on Friday. And it looks like it wants to try to make a move higher. We'll have to wait and see if that's the case. But a move back to 80, that previous high 86, not out of the question in my opinion. Not necessarily a go-to stock, but something that looks okay across the board. You have some highlights on bios. You had Blue that really has had a great 3, 4, 5 day move, and it's up again this morning. 100 is slight resistance, so keep that in mind. Some of them I can't really, Guild, nice ascending channel, really, and a flag forming above 108, so it's 108, 108.50. Keep it in mind. It has not traded that well for us. IBB in general, which is obviously the ETF, had a move on Friday. It's getting up to some key moving averages, but this is above some levels, 340, 125. So, it easily, end of the year, biotechs in general performed well this year, even though they had a bad second half of the year. They could come back to life and, IBB back to 360. I wouldn't be surprised. So keep them on the radar. Other notables, I watched JUNO hanging in there okay. I was in it a little bit yet last week. KITE, nice looking chart. One of the big boy that has to be on the radar, REGN. And BIB has been lagging, but again, above 300. I think you're getting some new buyers coming in. And then VRX is one of those that, it's just fun to watch at this point in time and, try to pick apart a trade here and there when it comes to fruition. So overall, guys, I'm in the camp of I'm going to stick with, the ideas I've been looking at and, seeing, not trying to spread myself out. I know this morning, you have Nike still at new highs, but Under Armour's down this morning. I didn't see any reason why, but it's down to that moving average. Maybe it's just taking a break, which is fine. You don't have to over-concentrate on it. We know it's a growth stock in the retail industry, number 2 against Nike. But again, they can take breaks across the board. And I think Microsoft, I believe, which I've been sitting in, not painfully, just annoying, because it's been in a very, very tight range. Just got an upgrade today, I think, from Raymond James. Above, 54.66. Looks like, a short-term high, and then 54.98. So 55, you might get some new buyers in. I've been in some from 53 in general, sitting and trying to be patient. But again, it's a tight stock. It's a big cap stock. It's not going to move like an Amazon, Netflix, or some of these others. You're not going to get the same bang for buck. So you can't look to tick trade it, which I know some people like to do. Know the stock you're trading, and understand that's not a vehicle to tick trade. I know GMCR came on people's radar the other day for good reason. It might be a one-hit wonder. I will see if it can regain some composure. It's still TBD, to be determined, in my opinion. If anything happens from it, maybe above that 60 level, it gets interesting. But overall, it's been a lackluster stock, along with the KITE Pro, some of the cybersecurity stocks also, upticked with PANW's earnings, which obviously seems like the best in breed. I know IMPV has been on the radar. And that actually looks good. I believe that's a cybersecurity also, along with cyber and FE, which really are just lackluster. So overall, guys, I'm looking at the same cast of characters. Not much is changing. Hopefully it's a little busier this week than it was last. I would assume that's the case. Today marks the end of the month, and then new money might kind of get put in for the end of the year. We'll have to wait and see if that's the case. But overall, stay tuned to the radio. I think this market's hovering. Do I see a downdrift? I mean, it certainly could happen. I don't see it in the charts right now. We'll have to see if the price action dictates accordingly. Right now, I'm still pretty bullish. Relatively agnostic on the indices. I don't think they're going to go do too much. The stocks we've been looking at, that is in the best patterns. I still think they'll have some follow through. I will talk to you all later. Good luck.